guys, it's Ariel from Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we're going to be making a couple of alternative milks. There are those of us out there who can't consume dairy, either for digestive reasons or because you're not wanting to consume animal products. So today I'm going to be making oat milk and cashew milk. So why don't we go ahead and get started. So in my little container here, these are raw cashews that I have been soaking for about 4 hours. So you can kind of see that they are squishy. And the reason we soak them is because you want them to break up in the blender more easily, so it's just easier on your blender blades, and it blends faster as well. So this is 1 cup or 8 ounces of cashews that I have been soaking for about 4 hours. Here I have my blender, so I'm just going to pop this in. And then I have pre-measured in my little container here 3 cups of cold filtered water. Okay. Now, you can blend it as is. You can also add sweeteners. Some people like to add dates to add a natural sweetness. You can also use honey or agave syrup. You can also add a pinch of salt if you want. Now, if we blend it as is, there could, this is going to separate because the fat in the water will separate. Now, you can shake it to reincorporate everything, or you can add something called xanthan gum. It's a plant-based additive that will stabilize your mixture, so it makes it homogeneous. It also thickens it a bit, so it's going to be a more creamy milk-like consistency. So you would add, I would say, this stuff is pretty powerful, so you just need a whisper of it. I would say no more than 1/4 teaspoon will do. And so you just add it to that. It would bind everything together so you don't get any separation, and it also gives it a better texture. But you want to add this while it's blending, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pop my lid on. I'm going to turn on our blender here. All right, now I'm going to blend this until it's smooth, and then we'll strain it. All right, so it looks like we have a nice creamy consistency. And you're going to want to strain it using a fine mesh bag. This is actually specifically made for nut milk. You can also use cheesecloth, but this will definitely strain out more of those little particles. So I've got my bowl here. I just have a little strainer for this to sit on. Okay, we're just going to pour this in. So this does drain pretty easily. You can squeeze the bag, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can just push it down with a little spatula. And you want to get as much of that liquid out of there as possible. And the plus side about cashew milk is it does actually steam quite well. So you get a really nice milk texture out of it. So you can use it in a latte, you can add it as a creamer to hot coffee. You can also add a splash of it cold to cold brew. And if you don't add any flavorings to it, like if you just do it plain with maybe a pinch of salt, you can actually use it as a base for vegan cheese sauce. Pro tip there. And this will keep in your fridge for about 4 to 5 days. Any longer than that, and you will notice kind of a funky smell. All right, so now I'm just going to put this in my storage container here. You can see it has a really nice, smooth, creamy texture. Looks very milk-like. Right, and there we have it. That is our first recipe for cashew milk. And now we're going to move on to our oat milk recipe. All right, and now that we're cleaned up, we are going to start making our oat milk, and this is also incredibly simple. I definitely had to play around with it for a little bit just to get the portions right. So I'm doing 1 cup of rolled oats. You don't want to use quick oats or steel cut. Steel cut is going to be too hard, and rolled oats, they just, they have more of a slimy texture when you blend them, so you just, or quick oats anyway. So you want to use rolled oats. So I have 1 cup or 8 ounces measured out here. And you don't want to soak these either, because what I found with oat milk is if you soak them, they tend to also produce a kind of like a slimy oat milk. So I'm just going to do them dry. So you add 1 cup to the blender. All right, and you want to do 3 cups of cold water. All right. And I have just a little bit of my xanthan gum ready. This is about 1/4 teaspoon, and you only want to blend this for about 30 seconds, even less than that too, because otherwise the oats will become slimy. So here we go. All right, and I'm stopping it a bit early because it's already nice and creamy. So we're going to go ahead and strain it. Now for this, I found that when you squeeze the bag to get it out, it also tends to get the oats slimy as well. So you just kind of want to let it do its thing and naturally drain into your bowl. So you don't want to agitate them too much. You want to kind of pretend that it's a sleeping baby. You don't want to wake it. And of course, you can add your choice of sweeteners to this. You can throw in a couple of dates, or you can use agave syrup or honey, a little pinch of salt. If you want it to be more similar to Oatly, which is a popular brand of oat milk, you can add 2 tablespoons of a neutral flavored oil like canola oil or avocado oil. And that will also kind of give you that nice mouthfeel that Oatly gives you. This just takes a hot minute. One thing I did find, and I don't really have a solution for, is this does not steam very well, because what happens is the oats cook and then they thicken. So this is good for adding cold to things like cold brew, but it would not be good in a latte. You can add a splash of it to your coffee, but when you steam it, it just, you basically get liquid oatmeal. It was not a pleasant experience. All right, so we're just gonna finish draining this here. Okay. All right, and we're going to pour this into our container. This also has a pretty nice creamy consistency, very milk-like in texture. So, alrighty, there we go, and that is our recipe for oat milk. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, leave a comment below. See you next time. Cheers, guys.